The key to running a smooth bar has always been about being organized, being ready for what's coming at you. And that just takes on an even greater importance now that we're moving into this age of fresh cocktails, high-end cocktails. You've got to be ready to do these things in a way that everything's ready to go, in the same way that you would do it in the kitchen. The idea of mise en place in a kitchen, 30 people come in and order the same salad, you're prepped and ready to go. And that's the same thing we're doing at the bar now. We're getting our juices prepped beforehand. We're having all of our mints and herbs and spices picked and ready and in our jars on the bar ready to go. All that stuff gets done before the people come in so that we're ready to hit this volume and do these high-end cocktails in the proper way so that we're not scrambling. The whole idea of the bartender who doesn't like to make the mojito, that comes from the fact that he wasn't prepped to make a mojito. So it becomes a hassle. It becomes a troublesome thing to make that drink, which if you're prepped and ready to go, a mojito is one of the easiest drinks to make, and it's delicious. So the idea of fresh fruits and fresh mixers and things like that, it's actually gotten much easier for us. The puree companies who have always catered to the pastry chefs and done their fresh fruits and things for sorbets and things like that, now they're targeting the bar. They see the opportunity, and we have recognized that opportunity as bartenders to take those flavors that we can do fresh, but let somebody else do the work for us. That's really what it comes back to. Let the work be done beforehand, either in-house by you and your team, or let somebody do it like a puree provider and someone do it for you so that all this stuff is laid out in an organized fashion here at your fingertips so that when somebody comes in and wants that crazy cocktail that you put on the menu, everything's here and you're ready to make it. It sounds hard, and we think about, maybe I'll take a few shortcuts. I don't have to do my fresh ingredients here. You know what? Here's the easiest place to bring fresh ingredients. The idea is as simple as batching. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to make a great drink, a handcrafted drink with beautiful ingredients, but we're going to do it in mass. We're going to do it in a bucket. We're going to do it so that everything's done beforehand. If we've got a bunch of people coming in and we want to make them a beautiful fresh watermelon drink, well, we'll take all those fresh ingredients, we'll prep them in the back, and we'll just raise our recipe up so that we can hit that volume. And the idea behind batching is really, it's as simple as being ready for 1,000 people to come in and drink that drink. Making a drink for 60, doing it in a kitchen Lexan in the back so that the booze is in there, your mixers are in there, your fresh ingredients are in there, so that everything's ready to go, and all you have to do when your guests get there is shake it up, make it fresh and put it in the glass for them, and have your garnishes ready to go. This is an opportunity to blow people's minds because what you have is a fresh cocktail that's done. All you have to do is prepare it and put it in the glass. We wish every drink was that easy to make, so take this opportunity to batch. And batching's as simple as taking your recipe and extending it for the number of people that you're going to do, and obviously you round up. When we do a batch, there's a lot of things that we have to take into account here, but it's really a process that is a little bit of trial and error and a lot of fun. What you're going to do is you're going to work your batch kind of backwards. So we have to be careful because we don't just want to take that exact formula and put it in the bucket and hope that it's right. What we're going to do is we're going to adjust it a little bit on the fly. So what we'll do is we'll use a little bit less of a few things so that we can adjust to that. It's all about making it taste great. That's the key to doing a batch. Just like when we make a drink, if you're not sure about the proportions, you'll taste it with a straw. Batching's that to a much higher degree. So what you do is you take all of your ingredients and just use a little bit less of each the first time you make it. And that gives you an ability to say, oh, let me taste this, it's a little sour. Oh wait, this one's a little strong, I gotta add a little extra juice. Make sure you've got plenty of everything and make sure you give yourself that room to tweak it, to make it just so. Because a batch, when it's done right, takes everything and makes it easier. And once you do this a couple of times, it gets really easy to do and you can be able to get a lot closer on the first try. But when we're starting, just give yourself that little bit of leeway. But doing a batch allows you to do what you're doing in the best way and do it for volume. You go out, you have one of the best drinks you've ever had in a bar. And you go back to that same bar the next night, order that same drink from a different bartender, and it's one of the worst drinks that you've ever had. We've all been down that road. It's a little depressing because we don't know what we're going to get all the time, day to day in a given bar. That is something that we have to address. Consistency is paramount to what we do. Now you think about what goes on in the kitchen. We talk about the kitchen a lot because it's a good model for what we're trying to do back here. Consistency from the food that comes out of the kitchen is key. You can't have a pasta dish coming out tasting one way one day and completely different when you have another line chef making that pasta. It's the same thing that's going on back here. We have to try and find ways to create consistency behind the bar. And there's lots of ways to do it. And a lot of it comes back to what we're doing to prep with our mise en place. Our mixers, say we're using fresh lime juice. Now, we know that limes are going to vary depending on how sweet they are and the season and how that goes. That's not even what I'm talking about. I'm talking about if we're using lime juice in our cocktails and we know that we're going to sweeten it, we have to have a formula in place so that every single time that sweetened lime juice tastes exactly the same. It can't be my opinion of it, another guy's opinion of it, and somebody else's opinion of it, who's ever sitting up the bar that day. Consistency becomes the key to everything we do. We got to set it up the same, we've got to have the flavors be the same so that no matter what, we're going to make those drinks taste the same way. Recipes are something, they're a guideline to what we do as a concept, but they're really important to what we're trying to produce on a daily basis. We create cocktails to have balance and texture, and that means we create every single ingredient to be a part of that equation, which means that if I'm pouring 1.5 ounces of spirit and another bartender's pouring 2 ounces of spirit, you're getting 2 totally different drinks. So we just have to focus in on all these little things. They're the things that we almost take for granted behind the bar because we all know our craft and we all do it the way that we know how. And that's fine. Don't take away the individual flair from the bartender. What you do is what makes this great. That's why people come to your bar. But focus in on those things that you can control. Have formulas and recipes for the things that you do so that everybody's doing it the same way. And it doesn't have to be your way or the highway. Get everybody involved in that process. Make sure that everybody's making drinks that they're comfortable with and take everybody's opinion and make that part, but make it consistent no matter what.